Warning, this content may be upsetting or disturbing to some audiences. What are some horrifying things to consider when thinking about aliens? One theory, from Stephen Hawking, is that if they are sufficiently advanced that aliens may treat us like ants. When we build dams, we don't worry about whether or not a dam will cause an anthill to be flooded out. Similarly, a species that is advanced as far beyond us as we are beyond ants might seek to alter our planet or even our solar system to their advantage without giving consideration to what may happen to us. The speed of light is 186,000 miles per second. I think that any aliens that are capable of traveling light years to reach us have no interest in our resources. Damn near anything on Earth except life itself and that which certain life creates, art for instance, is absolutely abundant elsewhere. Just about every element is out there in abundance. If aliens come to Earth, I would most likely believe it'll be for one of X things. Kill us, religion, belief in supremacy, etc. Adopt us, the intergalactic draft? More friends for space bingo? Study us, we are the zoo. A search for a cure to heat death. If you can dodge the laws of thermodynamics, you can dodge a ball. We're so sorry. We can't protect you anymore. Reminds me of the Protheans in Mass Effect. Hey, here are these plans for a weapon that we and several civilizations before us have worked on. It's your only hope in stopping the galaxy-ending threat. By the way, we all died and so did all the other races. Good luck. The possibility of them already knowing about us but us not knowing about them. We have no idea if they know. They could be committing space espionage right now and we wouldn't know about it. This reminds me of the dark forest theory. Like hunters in a dark forest, a civilization can never be certain of an alien civilization's true intentions. In summary, all life desires to stay alive. There is no way to know if other life forms can or will destroy you if given a chance. Lacking assurances, the safest option for any species is to annihilate other life forms before they have a chance to do the same. Extremely unlikely, I know, but if aliens ever come to Earth, it likely means they are a spacefaring and interstellar-capable species with tech at least centuries, if not millennia, ahead of ours. In other words, if aliens are even remotely capable of traveling to our planet, we're pretty much outgunned hilariously. Our human concepts of morality and empathy are heavily influenced by our mammalian biology. Imagine that aliens land, and instead of having nice little family units, their species lays clutches of thousands of eggs at a time. They don't form strong bonds. Life is essentially expendable for them. They see us sweeping over a dead child and they have literally no frame of reference for understanding why this would be upsetting. I'm not saying all aliens will be like this, but some definitely could be. That is like Cube from Madoka Magica. Its race sees emotions as a mental illness and it can't understand why humans act so illogically. It doesn't see anything wrong with tricking young girls into a death contract to delay the heat death of the universe. For all we know, aliens might not be the little green men that fly around in flying saucers and destroy us with laser beams. They could be an interstellar pathogen that show up one day and silently and effortlessly kills us all without warning. Our immune systems would have no idea what hit them. There was a book called Blindsight that explores a cool idea of aliens where they're not your typical little green men. The premise is pretty much, what if humanity is unique? What if intelligent life is common, but sentience is not? That music, art, literature is a uniquely human trait. That space is filled with cold, emotionless, genius life. To me that idea is kinda horrifying. At least, I think that's what the book was about. I'm not the best reader, lol. That they don't actually exist. If there were no advanced civilization that can colonize other planets, that would mean that most of them go extinct before they reach that level of technological advancement. Which means that we are probably doomed to extinction too. Not the visceral, obvious fear of they want to eat, enslave, colonize us. No, the scariest thing about alien life is that we just haven't heard from any of it. Which means we might actually be completely alone. We're the last human species left, the last creature on Earth who could be smart enough to leave our home planet. The scariest thought is that we're still nowhere close to leaving. And there's nothing out there to help us. Just a cold, unfeeling, empty universe. Aliens could do to us what we did to wolves, selectively breeding a once noble species in grotesque ways, transforming us into the equivalent of bulldogs, poodles, dachshunds, etc. I'm sure this has been done a bunch of times, but a world-building concept I really like is the idea that stereotypical fantasy races were once all human, but then adapted to was bred for different environments. So like dwarves adapted to a high-gravity planet, Orcs have green skin so that they can photosynthesize on a harsh desert planet with little food. Halflings were bred to be domestic servants, etc. Maybe all these supposed alien abductions and UFOs over the past 100 years have been alien scientists building vaccinations against our known diseases for themselves and adapting their own medical immunities for humans too, monitoring our progress against our own diseases so when both civilizations are on top of it we can be welcomed into the galactic fold safely. Maybe they just try and make sure everyone is safe and happy for galactic adventures with their new friends. The scariest thing to me is thinking that aliens want nothing to do with us. I don't get why everyone thinks that aliens would attack us immediately. It's one thing if we come into their territory, but if they stumble upon us we're most likely safe. Them finding us would mean they are incredibly advanced. Anything they could get by attacking Earth they could get far easier by harvesting it from a different planet in our solar system. Unless they feed specifically on brainwaves, it isn't worth the hassle to attack a planet teeming with life. They may have some weapons, however primitive, that might be used against you. It's far more frightening to believe that aliens will one day discover us and won't be interested. They won't want us on their intergalactic councils. They won't want to give us medicine. They won't want to form any bond. If they decide to just leave humanity alone, that means either they have decided we are not worth saving, or that we are too close to destruction to be worth the resources. What we think the aliens will do to us is reflective of our ego. We analogize some conquest of the new world, manifest destiny stuff to it cause that's what we know. But aliens could just be boring, uninterested, or have totally different priorities. Because they're alien, not Christopher Columbus with big eyes. The assumption that they come in groups in some flying saucer. For all we know they might just appear in hordes of thousands if not millions all across the planet. Also, we like to think that aliens will share the same way of thinking as humans, i.e. reasoning, emotions, etc. But the only reason we think that is because that's the only thing we are familiar with. Aliens might have completely different emotions or thought processes than us but we won't know because we never encountered them before. It's like the fourth dimension. At this point it's pretty well established what it is but most of us, if not all, have no clue how to visualize or properly explain it. Well, for us at least, the best way I think that we can evolve to be spacefarers is to become energy hardware-based beings. If you take the squishy human body out of the equation, and have us uploaded as digital consciousnesses, or a collective consciousness, then you eliminate a lot of the problems of deep space travel. Resources, radiation, size of spacecraft, reproduction, acceleration deceleration, etc. With feasible technology you could literally beam human consciousness vast distances at the speed of light to pre-seated automated factories that produce what we need from local resources. Robotic bodies, ships and the like. It's just one idea, but it definitely solves a number of problems we're going to encounter in the next few centuries. I've occasionally wondered if there are interdimensional aliens that can just shift space-time around themselves instead of themselves around space-time. Did you ever consider that those two things are happening simultaneously? When you go for a walk, you move your body through that external space. At the same time from the palm of your body everything moves around it and it is the static object. A really fun disorienting example of this is you've ever driven a highway with a long enough view of the road ahead. Highways are designed with a heavy implementation of special illusions so our minds can cope with processing 5 to 6 times our natural speed limit. With a far enough view ahead, the highway illusion breaks and your brain falsely sees the Earth moving beneath stationary vehicles as it attempts to reconcile with the sudden falsehood that it's already happened, that aliens came to Earth, destroyed what was already living there, and took over. That we, humans, had been the aliens. I remember reading a short sci-fi story in an old 2000 AD comic book where a massive army of humans was cruising through the galaxy, conquering every planet with intelligent life they came across. It took centuries, so I assume every child born was just raised to be a soldier. Fast forward a bit and the army comes across a beautiful planet, occupied by artists, musicians, actors and poets. Almost zero pollution. Everyone on the planet is pretty lazy and chill. No armies exist because the world is at peace. The army finds these people despicable and starts slaughtering them by the droves. When suddenly, they see the world flies the exact same flags and banners as the army. They had returned to their own planet, Earth. The fact that any advanced life form that showed up to Earth without wanting a peaceful contact would likely just show up, vacuum up all the resources and leave us to die without any communication or anything. Think about it, when humans go into nature to get resources, they don't kill all the animals. They just take what they want and leave. For some reason that is more chilling to me than aliens just glassing the planet with lasers. I don't think a peaceful alien would contact us. We are violent and very territorial, things that would be in opposition to any kind of peaceful alien or interplanetary federation. The dark forest theory kinda freaks me out. The universe is a dark forest. Every civilization is an armed hunter stalking through the trees like a ghost, gently pushing aside branches that block the path and trying to tread without sound. Even breathing is done with care. The hunter has to be careful, because everywhere in the forest are stealthy hunters like him. If he finds another life, another hunter, angel, or a demon, a delicate infant to tottering old man, a fairy or demigod, there's only one thing he can do: open fire and eliminate them. They can also come in different forms than we expect. You could have an alien made of sound waves or a microscopic alien. Or aliens the size of planets, where it takes 3 seconds for their brain to send a message to their toes to wiggle them. We are only an intelligent species because we defined ourselves that way. Think of it, there is only a 1% difference in DNA between chimps and us, meanwhile the difference in intelligence is huge. We are exploring the cosmos with our advanced telescopes, meanwhile the smartest chimp is stacking up rocks. Now think of an alien species that has a 1% DNA difference with us lining the other way. Their simplest thoughts would be too complicated for us. The smartest person on Earth would be like a chimp stacking up rocks for them. Now think of a species with another 1% difference. We wouldn't even be like ants walking on the floor to them. We would be less than that. And you could go on like that, 10%, 20%. 30%, etc. What would we be? So insignificant that no one in the cosmos would consider making contact with us? Is the truth of the cosmos and reality actually really simple, but we are just too stupid? Like expecting ants walking on a football field to understand what's going on the field? Do we not know what we don't know? You know those tribes that live on islands in the Pacific that haven't had technological progress in thousands of years? That's us. You know those international logging companies that would love a chance to just come plow over the island and take what's there? Somewhere, there's an alien Greenpeace that's just barely getting by on a shoestring budget. What if it ends up the other way around? What if we end up being able to travel between the stars, and we find some aliens that aren't as technologically advanced as we are? I could easily see us being imperialist invaders, committing the atrocities we've committed against each other on an entire species so we could have a second planet with an oxygen atmosphere and easily attainable natural resources. That would be truly horrifying. One of the only examples of life that isn't like that would be, for example, single-celled organisms, amoebas and such, which just kind of ooze over whatever they acquire sustenance from and osmose it into themselves. Currently on Earth only microorganisms are like that. But there are fossils dating from before the Cambrian explosion from millions of years ago which hint that a completely different type of large and complex organisms might have evolved to walk the Earth before that evolutionary lineage was wiped out by an asteroid or the like. One of the oldest of these rare fossils is of a zero-orificed creature that was about a meter long. We don't have a lot of info from life during that age, but it indicates there may have been an entire evolutionary track of complex life forms favoring life that is topologically equivalent to ball instead of donut. And that's on Earth. So, yeah. We could very well find an entire planet of giant, oozy amoebas of assorted species and intelligence, who neither eat, speak, or shit like we do. Just try figuring out how to breach that cultural and language barrier. That they are from the future. Time flows differently in space, and if aliens are real then they could be from the future. What if the aliens are humans from the future but they've evolved so much we can't recognize them as human? One of my theories is that gray aliens are us from the future and abduct humans to study themselves. But there is a deeper theory to that. The grays are us from far in the future, but we had messed up our genetics in the past and had come to a point where genetic mutation is killing future us. So they're traveling back to mess with our genetics to try to fix the problem. The fact that they could pretty much see us as inferior life forms. Thus, they could make us slaves, their food or test subjects. It wouldn't be something personal. They just would look down on us like we would do with some ants, not even worth it changing the direction of a step to avoid killing. It seems quite unlikely to me they'd use us as slaves. Humans are great workers compared to most species we know of. But a civilization capable of interstellar travel is highly likely to have automation systems that eliminate or at least greatly reduce the need for manual labor. There's also the question of what we'd be doing. Most resources on Earth are easier to find in space, and those that aren't are mostly gases or alive, neither of us easily harvested by slaves. We could be working in manufacturing, But again, given the nature of human economics, it seems likely they'd rely on highly specialized labor instead of slaves or workers. Test subjects or food, though sure. We eat dogs, and they're pretty smart. And that's not even considering just how much smarter aliens might be compared to us. Might be like eating insects. Number 1. There is absolutely nothing on planet Earth that the aliens can't find in more abundance elsewhere. Precious metals, gases for fuel, assuming they don't have zero-point energy or something that lets them get power from vacuum. And even water are all available in space, and you can get these resources with zero resistance. So I don't think they would come here for any resources, unless they want our biosphere, which, for all we know, could be abundant in the galaxy. Number 2, if aliens do show up one day but turn out to be hostile, there is absolutely nothing we can do to stop them. If they have been coming here, if you believe in that sort of thing, they have been doing so for a very long time. They know everything about us, including our weaknesses and how to exploit them. Meanwhile, they are a species capable of FTL travel. Wiping us out would be as simple for them as flipping on a light switch. No jet-to-ship dogfights, no magical weak point to hit, no third-act secret weapon to save us. Just one press of that button and everything turns white, and then black. So if they do come to Earth, they would need a damn good reason to. If our luck is truly awful and they actually want something from us, we'd better pray that it's something that we don't have to fight over, because we wouldn't stand a chance. The other day, I looked at pictures of the universe and thought, what if Earth is the size of a marble ball to an alien? I think it's called ant theory, that we are so small, we can't possibly comprehend the space we live in and see or acknowledge other beings. To a blue whale, we are tiny. To a dust mite, we are so large that we are incomprehensible. It is arrogant to assume that the human scale dictates life in the universe. What if our universe and everything else that we can comprehend is just the equivalent of a single atom in a much larger multiverse? And similarly, what if the molecules and such that we can observe are themselves much smaller universes within our own? Given that our understanding of the cosmos is limited by our own perceptions, many things are theoretically possible, and we will likely never know everything that there is to know. That we're no more interesting or important to them than the anthill in your yard. They won't be like us. They'll be thousands of years beyond having a DNA-based substrate. The bodies they use will be consciously designed and used as needed. Most existence will be virtual. That they might not exist. If there are aliens, they could undoubtedly pose a threat to humanity, but I think most people want alien life to exist elsewhere. That way we aren't alone in the universe. I think that the most horrifying thing to think about is that despite how incredibly huge the universe is, we might be the only ones in it. The thought of Earth being the only habitable planet in the entire universe is terrifying. And if life dies out on Earth, what if that was all the life that existed in the universe? Another terrifying thought: what if we are the most advanced life in the universe? What if life on other planets is only bacteria or bug-like? We don't know for sure, but the hope for life, the thing that creates consciousness and admires the existence, might be only in our hands. We should really take care of this gift given by nature. Thanks for listening to AskReddit. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell for more creepy videos. Click the right box to hear about the worst things America has done, as well as some unbelievable conspiracy theories. Let us know in the comments what you think about these stories.